Okay, so having had this discussion about our little bacterial friends, we're going to move into some more notes. So basically, any population of any species wants to keep their conditions in that green zone. Well, with regards to temperature, because this is a pretty common one, how do you do that? How do you keep things in the green zone? There are two basic ways to do that. One is that you change your body conditions. The other is that you let your body conditions float with the outside temperature, and then you have to be real picky about where you're at. So there are two basic strategies here. Some organisms regulate their body. That's what you do. Mammals all do this. Birds do this. The other option is that you just kind of let your body temperature drift. Snakes do this. Insects do this. They don't have a means to regulate their body temperature. So things like reptiles, amphibians, insects, all are what are called conformers. Their body temperature conforms to whatever conditions are outside. So if we think about this in terms of tolerance, if we think about this in terms of keeping things good, what does that mean you got to do? It means you have to be in a place where you're not going to drop into your red zone. What do snakes do in the winter?
They tend to get really slow and go into a kind of hibernation.
They're really slow. Their body processes all slow way down. But more importantly than that, they den up. You're not going to find a snake laying outside on the ice, unless it's dead. They den up. They go underground. The basement of the house I used to live in, my grandma's old house, it was a old farmhouse, big old sandstone blocks in the basement, and every winter I would have snakes denning in my basement, which I thought was really cool. Not everybody else was as excited about it as I was. I had milk snakes and garter snakes. It was really neat. Who's down here today? So if you're a conformer, you have to go someplace where the temperature is going to keep you at least out of the red zone. You know, you mentioned the snakes get really slow, they're real dopey. They're not reproducing at that time of year. They're barely consuming calories. They're just kind of... They're not moving fast. They're not easily able to get away from a predator or an interested moser who likes to pick them up and look at them when they're denning in the basement. But they're surviving. You know, they're probably in their own maybe yellow zone. Not reproducing, still able to grow, but very slowly, maybe orange zone. If you're a regulator, you can actually change your body to stay in the green. Your core temp is right around 98, 99 degrees Fahrenheit, and your body has multiple systems to keep it there. Goosebumps, shivering. If your core temp drops too low, those things are going to start to kick in. Those things move you back towards your green. If you're too hot, sweating, pores opening, those are things that move you back towards your green. So those are the two strategies. There's no other way to do it. You either have to control your body and change the temperature of your body, or you have to find places where you're not going to drop out of that zone that allows you to thrive. I guess we can count escape as another option. So the other thing that organisms can do is just get out. Escape from conditions that make survival difficult. And this has to do with temperature, it has to do with availability of calories, all of that. So there's dormancy, which is when creatures slow all of their chemical processes way down. And then there's migration. Literally getting out, going to Florida, going to South America. A lot of the birds that we see here for part of the year are seen by people in South America for the other part of the year. A lot of our common summer birds actually winter over in South America. So migrational is just seasonal movement. Again, these are ways to keep yourself in the green, or for a population to stay in the green. Go to where it's actually conditions that are in your green zone. Or go underground. So who here has ever seen a groundhog? They're cute. They're delicious. They're an herbivore. They're just like you eat beef, you could eat groundhog. They're just fine. Anyway, they go underground. They excavate holes. What's so special about underground? Stays warm. Stays usually between 50 and 55 degrees is usually given as ground temp. It is warmer than above in the winter and cooler in the summer, but more importantly, it's steady. Now, you think 55 degrees Fahrenheit is groundhog's green zone? Probably not. But it's a lot better than -10 up here. In addition, there aren't a whole lot of calories available for them in the winter. So they fatten up all summer. You've seen, in that September groundhog is a very fatty little creature indeed. That March groundhog is a very skinny little creature, having come out of months and months and months, not burning a whole lot of calories and just kind of chilling underground. They go dormant. A niche is everything about a species' way of life. It is where it lives, what it eats, how it mates, how many offspring it has, Gesundheit, when it has its offspring, when it's active, what preys on it, what it preys on, diseases that affect it. That's all part of its niche. That's all niche. And plants have niches too. There are plants that will only grow in full sun out in the middle of the yard. There are some plants that grow in the woods in deep shade. There are plants that only grow in acid soils versus plants that like a sweeter soil. Those are all pieces of niche. So this is the barn owl.
Is there a barn owl?
There is a barn owl as well. They look very different. So in Ohio, we have, 7 species of owl: great horned, barn, barred, screech, long-eared, gray. I'm up to 6. I know there's another one, but I can't remember. Anyway, so, no, there's not one kind of owl. There are a lot of kinds of owls. So here's my friend, the little barred owl. What do you know about them? Don't yell it out. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk at your table about anything you know about barred owls. Alex, wake up. Alec, wake up. Thank you. See, if I use your name wrong, I bet you'd wake up faster. So come up with what you know about the barred owl. Okay, are you coming up with, so when you say, well, this is true, you need to be able to back that up with some fact, and it needs to be a reputable source. So who found something that they'd like to share? We're going to take all the things you just came up with, and we're going to separate them into, this is an essential part of their niche, or that's a really cool fact, but it's not really so much about their niche. Because I want you to be able to distinguish these things. So, pick one. This table. Here. Okay, tree climbing babies, and I forgot to even write that down. Sorry. Tree climbing babies. Give me another cool fact. Pick another one of those and put it in cool facts. Stephen, you look like you were thinking about something.
Females are bigger than males who go into school.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a real essential component of their niche. I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, I agree. Okay, who's got something else for cool facts? Okay, I think looks fluffy is probably more cool fact than hardcore piece of the niche. Brittany, what do you have? Okay, I think you're right. Turning head is really cool, but I think it's more cool fact than essential piece of the niche. Yes.
Brown tail. No, wait, never.
Brown tail?
I'd say they have to blend
Oh, so camouflaging. Okay, so you want to put this in here and maybe add to that this is a camouflage issue.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get these out of the way so we can have some space here. Brown tail, camo.
Wait, so that's in the niche?
Well, if you just say they're a pretty color of brown, I think it's a cool fact. If you say they blend into their surroundings, I think that's niche. Daniel. Well, just categorize things. Just take those things from there that we've listed. Let's look at what niche involves.
Who eats them and what they eat?
Okay, so what would get eaten by great horned owls be? That would be niche. Yeah. Well, let's see. Well, let's go back and reference what's in niche. How it cares for its offspring is probably part of its niche. So I would say, so who knows an animal that gives no parental care? Who can name an animal that gives no parental care? Give me one.
Pretty much bald eagles.
No, that's completely, no, that's totally false. Extensive parental care. Give me one with no parental care, Maddie.
Maddie?
Turtles.
I have said turtles.
I'm sorry, turtles. Turtles, Peyton. Give me another one. Who said fish? I heard somebody say fish. What else? Sharks. Yeah, I think so. And snakes don't do parental care, and frogs don't do parental care. So no, the fact that they do parental care is a critical component of their niche. That's extra resources that they have to provide. I mean, they make a nest, they lay the eggs, they sit on the eggs, as do bald eagles, Nate. So lots of parental care there. Okay, what's something else on this list that would be either niche or cool fact? Sort.
Non-migratory.
Non-migratory. That means they are here all winter.
I think it's a cool fact.
You think it's a cool fact? You think that's a cool fact?
No, it's definitely
Okay, I'm going to let you people argue that one.
it's a definitely a niche.
I mean, so let's look at this. Where it lives, range of temperature they survive. Yeah, I think. Okay, who else has got another one? Brittany.
I think
Oops.
the wingspan would be in the niche
Okay, so what makes you say that?
because, I mean, it's kind of important, for survival because, if their wings are, too small and they can't really, fly, they can't carry their body weight with them, then
Okay.
they're not going to really survive against other
Let me give you one other thought about wingspan. Who here has actually ever seen a hawk or an owl or anything else flying through woods? Not over open field, but coming through the trees. You know those video games where you have to fly an airplane through a field of buildings or something? That's what it always makes me think of, the amount of sort of engineering and adjustment that a hawk or an owl has to do to get through a forest without running into a tree and dying. What's interesting is in woodland species, we tend to see slightly smaller wingspans than in species that spend most of their time out in the open. Why would that be?
because in the open, they just glide on air.
Compact design works really well if you have to navigate between a bunch of trees. So I'm kind of feeling like wingspan is more cool fact, but it points to something about their niche, which is that these are largely a woodland creature. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that because red-tailed hawks spend a lot of time hunting in the open. You see them hanging over cornfields and, abandoned every place. Can we stick that one there? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Okay, what else? So did we say take care of babies was niche?
Yeah. Wait.
Matt objected, but he was voted down at his table. Okay, so have feathers, nocturnal, eat a bunch of stuff. Whoops. Where do we want to put eat small animals? Rodents, rabbits, snakes, amphibians. Where do you think, Nate?
Niche.
Solidly niche. What you eat is a big part of your niche. Okay, where do you want to put nocturnal? Is it important? Yeah, that's solidly niche. Yeah, time of day it's active. Have feathers? Cool fact. You know, it's kind of like the wingspan for Brittany. If we're talking about like those specialized leading feathers that make them near silent, then we might say like, oh, it points to what they're hunting. They're hunting things with.
What keeps their body temperature?
Oh, the fact that they can survive in cold weather. So yeah, it's kind of like the same thing where like I want to put it in that middle ground.
Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, I guess depending on
Easy for you to say.
If it wasn't for their feathers, they couldn't fly though. So.
Well, that's true. And if it wasn't for their feathers, they also probably couldn't, hang through the winter up here.
depending on how you talk about it is probably right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we can make an argument for it being in either case. Okay, so that's good. Now I have another friend here. Whoops.